Well, good afternoon, everybody. Yesterday I took the time to put together a video on the food that I'm bringing to Colorado this year. Today I want to take the time to go through the camera gear that I'm bringing this year. Last year I brought a lot of different stuff compared to what I've got this year. This is probably one of the biggest areas of change in all my gear is with my camera gear. So first I'll start off with what I'm going to have in the truck. This stuff, of course, I won't pack with me into the field, but I'm going to take it with me. We're flying out, so this will be in the rental vehicle. There at the trailhead, we'll have it locked up, so hopefully we won't have to worry about anybody breaking in and stealing it. But anyway, I'm going to have I've got a 2019 MacBook Pro. Just bought that computer a couple months back. It's been awesome so far. I'll have that in the truck, as well as a Toshiba 3 terabyte hard drive and a Lacey, or Lacey, I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it, but a rugged drive, 5 terabyte hard drive. And what I'll do with that is when I get back, 2 or 3 days in, 3 or 4 days, however many days we're in the backcountry, when we come out, the first thing I'll do is I'll plug in my SD card and download all that footage to 2 hard drives so that I'll have them backed up. I'll have all that footage backed up. Also in the truck, I'll have my charging assembly and watt cables and all that stuff for my drone. I'll also have a converter that I can plug in that has wall outlets and USB outlets in it. That'll stay in the truck. And then I'll have my charger for my laptop. And that's one thing, if I can give you any advice as far as video, and always have redundancies, always have backups. So last year, unfortunately, I lost 4 of our days worth of footage on the way out. Somehow the bag that had my SD cards in it got left on the trail, got back home, and we didn't realize it was gone until we got back to North Carolina. So anyway, definitely download your footage to 2 places. Preferably keep those in separate places, but like on the trail, we won't be able to. They'll both be in the truck, but when I get home, those will be in 2 separate places, so I don't have to worry about both of them getting destroyed. Anyway, definitely make sure you dump your footage whenever you get out and get a chance. That way, if you do lose a card, you're not losing everything. And with that being said, we'll just go ahead and touch on SD cards. So I'm using, I started out using the full-size SD cards, and I've kind of went to more of the micro SD cards. And the only reason behind that is I'm starting to use more of the 64 gigabyte SD card, micro SD cards, because my GoPro will accept them and my drone will accept them. So if I run out of room on a card on one of my cameras, they're interchangeable, versus the full-size SD cards are not. So I've kind of started going to the micro SD cards. Right now I'm videoing with my Sony a6500, so that's why you don't see it on the table, but I have a 64 gigabyte micro SD in that right now. I'll be carrying 128 gigabyte, another 64 gigabyte, and 2 32 gigabyte SD cards. And the plan is to probably going to fill up about a 64 gigabyte SD card every day. So with this system, I'll have 2 days in the 128, 1 day in the 64 that's in my camera now, 1 day in the 64, the extra 64, and then a day between these 2 32s. So worst case scenario, we stay in the backcountry for 5 days. I should have enough memory for 5 days worth of video. Anyway, hopefully, probably more than likely, we'll be back to the truck within 3 to 4 days, so that ought to be plenty of storage in the camera. Anyway, moving on from that, we'll start getting into how I charge all my cameras and keep them charged in the backcountry. I've got an Anker 21 watt solar panel that I'll be using. I used this last year, worked out great for me. Along with that, I'll have a 10,000 milliamp Anker charger and a 5,000 milliamp Anker charger. I'm not brand specific, that just ended up being what I've got. So anyway, what I'll do is wherever we set up camp, this 21 watt panel will be hanging off of my tent, preferably somewhere where we can get consistent daylight throughout the day. This will be plugged into my 10,000 milliamp battery bank, and that'll charge throughout the day while we're out hiking, hunting, whatever. So when we get back to camp, as long as we've got good daylight, direct sunlight, this anchor will be fully charged. That 10,000 milliamp will be fully charged. And then also I'll carry this 5,000 milliamp charger in my pack with me while we're hiking or hunting. And that's what I'll use to charge my cell phone, whatever it may be. I can also plug into this dual battery charger from my Sony a6500, and I can charge 2 batteries at once in that if I need to. That way, no matter what, I shouldn't run out of battery for the camera. But that system there works great for me as long as you've got direct sunlight. And if not, I can skimp on certain things as far as like using my cell phone. I can skip on that if I had to kind of cut down on the battery usage throughout the day. Sticking with the batteries, I'll go ahead and talk about how many batteries I'm bringing for my big camera, my main camera. I'm going to bring 6 spares, and then I've got the one in the camera right now. The reason I'm bringing so many batteries is because if we run out of sunlight for a couple days, say it's rainy, cloudy, whatever it may be, I'll have enough batteries to last me a few days. So more than likely I'll use 1 full battery per day and about half of another battery per day. That's how it seems to work so far in the trips that I've been on with this camera. It does suck a lot of battery out, and these batteries are very small, but they're also lightweight. So, you know, I'm packing 7 batteries total, including the one that's in the camera now, but it's not a real big weight penalty. So that's why I'm packing 6 extras, is just in case we don't have consistent sunlight throughout the day. So moving on from there, we'll just go from from your right to left. Here's the Peak Design camera clip. I can't speak enough on this. It just makes my life so much easier as a videographer, photographer, whatever. It makes your camera so much easier to get to and so much more comfortable to carry throughout the day. Absolutely love that little mount, and I won't be on a trip without it from now on. I can promise you that. It's just for the weight penalty, you can't beat it for the versatility and what you get out of it. Speaking on microphones, I'll have the Rode Video Micro on top of my main camera, and then I'll have the, this is just a case, but it's the lav mic that I'm using right now. It's the Tascam DR10L. I'll have that lav mic on whoever the hunter is that day. That way, if they're separated from me or whoever's videoing, if we're separated, I can still have audio on the hunter. So that's another change to this year. Last year I used just the Video Micro. This year I'm going to have the lav mic. It's a little more of a hassle when it comes to post-production, and also a little more of a hassle as far as the hunter has to remember to turn it on. But when that big moment happens and you get a kill on film or whatever it may be, just having that audio on the hunter makes a big difference in your footage. Moving on from there, I have my DJI Mavic Air drone. I'll have that with me this year. Check your local laws and policies on drone usage before you use one. But if you can use them, the footage that you can get out of these little drones is unbelievable, and it just adds such a great dynamic to your videos. So I'll have that with me this year. With that, I'll have the controller and then 2 extra batteries, and then those are already 1 battery in the drone now. So I have 3 batteries total, which 2 extras. And all of that, except for the drone itself, will go in this little red dry bag. And that's mainly just to keep it separated from all my other camera gear, just so if I'm trying to get to it in a hurry, I can just pop that out real quick and go. Moving on from there, we'll get into the GoPros. So I've got the Hero 3 Black, and then I've got the Sportsman's mount that I'll have with that GoPro. And then this is actually Nathan's GoPro here. This is a Hero Session. Both of these GoPros are kind of old compared to what there is out there now, and that's going to be one of my next upgrades to my gear list here. But for this year, this is what we're going to be using. So the plan is to get some cool footage of the cameraman as well as cool footage of the hunter. So the hunter's going to have the Hero 3 Black with him, and then the cameraman, whoever it may be, will have this Session mounted to the top of the camera. So as you're filming, this GoPro is going to be facing back towards the video or caller. It's just going to be the 2 of us this year. So The plan is for whoever's videoing to also be the caller. I figured it'd be some cool footage to get, you know, just like a, you know, like a two-person scene type thing, you know, like a first-person, third-person type thing. I think it'd just be cool to get something different. You don't see that very often. A lot of times you don't really see the cameraman. He's just kind of there getting all the footage and you don't really see him. So I think it'll be cool. We're going to try it. It doesn't weigh very much, so it's not like it's going to weigh the cameraman down any. But we're going to try it. That's going to be mounted to the top of the Sony a6500. And then this is another addition to this year's gear list. This is a little Lytra camera light. It's got 3 settings and then a blinking setting. This is like a little diffuser on the end of it. It's a lot brighter if you take it off. But for interviews and stuff like that, for night shots, for hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, we killed 2 elk this year, and we can use this for blood trailing, for video and the you know, cleaning the animal, videoing in camp. It is kind of heavy and it's a little bulky to carry around, but it's, you know, for what it is, it's very small. It's rechargeable, so I don't have to worry about running out of battery in this or having to carry spare batteries for it. But this should come in very handy as far as, you know, nighttime interviews and that type of thing. I've already spoke on the batteries. So right here I have my ND filters for both my main camera and my drone. And in there is pretty much just different stop ND filters, and that keeps your footage looking nice and clean throughout the day. As it gets brighter or darker, you want to try to keep your settings on your camera at where they are, you know, where you need them to be optimal video, and to keep your video nice and clean, not grainy, not too jumpy, and so forth. But those ND filters are how you can adjust your cameras. It's almost like putting sunglasses on your camera. I'll have a variable ND filter for my main camera, and that we can adjust as the day goes on, take it off if we need to, if it gets cloudy, whatever it may be. It just makes your footage look so much more professional than it does if you adjust all your camera settings to try to dim down your camera. Anyway, this isn't really camera gear, but I keep it in my camera gear pouch because I always have that pouch with me. This is a little Petzl E-Lite. Heard about this off of one of Aaron Snyder's podcasts with the Gritty Bowman, and this is just a little light that weighs next to nothing. It uses a watch battery. It's it's not very bright, but it comes in handy if you need an extra backup headlamp, or if your headlamp goes dead, whatever it may be. Super lightweight, weighs next to nothing. You know, can't beat having that thing in your pack. As far as spare batteries, this year I've went down a lot on the spare batteries that I'm bringing. Right now I've got 5 AAAs in here, one of which will go into this lav mic before we leave, so I'll really only be packing 4 AAAs. I'm going to pack all lithiums this year, and then I've got a spare rangefinder battery. You don't want to get on the mountain and find out that your rangefinder's dead. I haven't ran into that yet. But as long as I've got a spare battery, hopefully I never have to run into that. Also in the pack, I'll carry some zip ties, little small zip ties, and you never know what kind of, you know, when your camera gear is going to break on you, whatever it may be. I've used those several times in emergency situations for strapping my camera gear back together. In this little pouch here, I've got a lens cloth as well as a shower cap, a little plastic shower cap. And that shower cap is mainly for my big camera. When we're on the trail, if it starts pouring down rain, whatever it may be, that little shower cap goes perfect over the camera. Weighs nothing, super cheap. Actually, I got those for free at a hotel I was staying in, so I just pack one of those, keeps my camera dry, and you know, you're not really packing a weight penalty. I also have a lens brush as well as an SD card reader for the iPhone. Nathan and I both use iPhones, so it'll be interchangeable between both of our phones. I'll have an iPhone charging cable, a GoPro charging cable, and then 2 of the, I'm not exactly sure what type cable they are, but it's what pretty much charges everything. It's like a micro USB, I think is what it is. Charges all this stuff here. And that's the only reason I'll have 2 of those. And then I've already spoken on the little dual battery charger. I'll use that at camp at night and throughout the day if I need to charge up my camera batteries. And then this is just a wet lens towel. I don't use those very often, but I'll have one in my bag just in case I fall and get a lot of dirt on my lens or something, whatever it may be. And lastly, with my gear, we'll just take this GoPro and show you. What I'm videoing on right now, like I said, is my Sony a6500. I've got the small rig camera cage around it, as well as the Vanguard carbon fiber tripod that it's sitting on. There's my dog getting in the video. Hey, bud. Hey, Robs. He wants back here with me, but anyway, that's the camera that I'll be videoing on, and that's the tripod that I'll have it on, and that's why that's not actually sitting here on the table. But anyway, so this is all the gear that I'll have with me this year. Definitely don't have to have all this gear if you're wanting to video your hunts, but this is what I'm carrying on my backcountry hunts this year, and I feel like this is about the level of gear that you really need to get your videos to that next level. So definitely by no means am I a professional, but I do like to go all in when I get into something, and right now videoing is just as important to me as the actual hunt is. I just love doing it. It's so much fun for me. It's aggravating sometimes while you're doing it, but when the project's over and you get that thing done and you see what your end result is, it's just so awesome. It's so fulfilling as a hunter to know that you can get out there and not only can you hunt animals, but you can also get all the footage and hopefully tell your story for years to come. So anyway, don't let all this gear bog you down. If you're wanting to get into it, definitely don't feel like you have to buy all this all at once. Start out with a GoPro, or start out with your cell phone. I mean, shoot, cell phone cameras are amazing now. Compared to a few years ago, just only a few years ago when I started video, and cell phones were nowhere near what they are now. So get out there and start videoing your hunts, start videoing your hiking, just start video. If you're wanting to get into video, and don't go all out and buy all this all at once, start out small, work your way up, and if you love it like I do, you'll eventually work your way up to getting all this gear. And I'm definitely not, I wouldn't even say I'm middle of the road on expense as far as how expensive my gear is, but what I've got here creates a great end result. So I love doing it. I appreciate y'all watching. Hopefully this gear list will kind of give you an idea of what to pack in the backcountry if you're wanting a video, as far as, you know, battery and charging, and, you know, saving your film on, you know, on your camera, on your computer back at the truck, batteries for your cameras, whatever it may be. Hopefully this kind of helps you out a little bit. And if you're going with two people like Nathan and I are, you can exchange the load. So when Nathan's the hunter, he'll have his Canon T4i on him. That way, if he sees something and we're separated a little bit, he can pull that camera off. He's got a Peak Design clip like I do. He'll pull that thing out, catch the video shot, take a picture, whatever it may be, and then we get back, we'll dump all that footage together, and hopefully we'll be able to tell a great story. And same goes for me. Whenever I'm hunting, most of this gear Nathan will be carrying, because he'll be videoing for that day. So you can always, you know, change loads with your hunting partner. Hopefully you got a great hunting partner like I do. Nathan's great with, you know, hey man, let me carry some of your stuff. We'll kind of even our pack weights out. That way one's not carrying 70-something pounds and the other one carrying 45 pounds. So all of this may not exactly be in my pack all the time, but when we start out, this is what's going to be in my pack. When I go backpacking and stuff like this, this is the system that I carry. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy this video. Hopefully you get something out of it. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to comment, or, you know, send me a message, whatever it may be. You know, go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, you know, shoot me a comment or a message, whatever. Just ask me anything you want to. Hopefully I can answer it. If I can't answer it, maybe I can point you in the right direction. But anyway, please like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever it may be. And we appreciate you watching. And good luck out there this year. I can't wait to see all y'all's films, and hopefully I can bring something to the table that y'all really enjoy whenever we get done with this hunt. So appreciate you watching, and have a good one.